And the media, of course, are cheering this sort of stuff on. There's a full article in the Washington Post today by Ellie Silverman. It is called Outside Kavanaugh's Home, a Neighbor Rallies for Abortion Rights. Well, isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? So how would you feel if your neighbors showed up with a massive group of people to yell at you outside your house? That seemed not threatening at all. Lacey Wooten-Hallway was walked through Chevy Chase on Wednesday night, pausing to stick flyers on her fence, a tree, and utility boxes. She was advertising an abortion rights protest here in her neighborhood in front of the home of Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh. A passing couple paused, reading her sign, honk for repro rights and bodily autonomy. Good, the woman said. That I don't agree with, the man interjected. I think you vote, you expand the court, you don't go to a guy's house. She'd heard the arguments before and responded, quote, I organize peaceful candlelight vigils in front of his house. We're about to get doomsday, so I'm not going to be civil to that man at all. What a lovely person. For months, Wooten-Hallway, a 39-year-old teaching assistant and aftercare staffer, mother of 2 and the youngest of 5 sisters, has taken the unusual step of protesting a neighbor. It's just unusual. It's not bad at all. It's kind of unusual, like a weird thing that you do. Usually she's the only neighbor there. A reminder that with every march and chant, she's breaking an unspoken contract of civility. Neighbors tell her this kind of protest is disrespectful in a place they believe should be private, family-friendly escape from bitter Washington politics. Other people cheer, saying they wouldn't personally join but are encouraged to see someone speaking out. Activists and D.C. residents have shouted at political leaders in restaurants, even danced outside of lawmakers' homes in early morning wake-up calls, but they often have a sense of anonymity and togetherness. Wooten-Hallway has neither. She's met Kavanaugh. They once coached middle school basketball in the same gym, but for different teams. She's seen his wife, a town manager, at the grocery store. Even if she and the Kavanaughs don't know each other personally, she thinks it's important for him to hear that people in his own neighborhood vehemently disagree with him. She's furious at the thought of a world without Roe. This is not how you motivate voters, and it is also not how you are a good person. This makes you a rather unpleasant human being. And again, the Democratic Party, they just keep forwarding this sort of stuff. And they keep ratcheting up the rhetoric. They keep ratcheting it up in the hopes that the American people will be scared. I'm sorry, all of us have already died enough times in the past 5 years from various causes. Your threats of doomsday and death no longer have impact. We were all dead of net neutrality years ago. We all died because Trump was elected. And then we all died because of global warming, like multiple times. So your threats that we're all going to die because Roe versus Wade will be overturned, and because, unfortunately, women will still be allowed to have abortions up till the point of birth in states like New York and Illinois and California, your threats are falling on deaf ears. Nancy Pelosi, one of the people really ratcheting this stuff up, she says this is a slap in the face to women. She says disrespectful not to allow women to have abortions. Disrespectful. I noticed that it's more disrespectful when you chop up a human in the womb and then suck it into a sink. I feel like it's a sign of disrespect. How about you? If it happened to me, I'd feel pretty disrespected. Here's Nancy Pelosi talking about lack of respect.
This is about something so serious and so personal and so disrespectful of women. Here we are on Mother's Day, a week where the court has slapped women in the face in terms of disrespect for their judgment about the size and timing of their families.
I don't want to hear people like her talk about Mother's Day ever again. It's absurd. I'm sorry. It's an absurdity piled on top of an absurdity to hear people talk about the murder of the unborn on Mother's Day. You're invoking Mother's Day to literally talk about why a mother should be able to kill her child in the womb. That does not wash. According to the Democratic Party, I tweeted this out yesterday because I've been tweeting it out consistently for years, because this is the position of the Democratic Party now. Mother's Day is person of unspecified, caretaker of unspecified gender whose bills are paid for by the government and also could have killed the child in the womb for what would have been completely understandable purposes. That's Mother's Day. All a mother is a person who was dumb enough to have the baby. Like this is apparently the Democratic Party position. Like there's nothing moral that attaches to motherhood when you conceive. Pregnancy is a forced imposition by biology and evil Republicans. You're not supposed to take care of your kids. Everybody else is supposed to take care of your kids. Like, this party celebrating Mother's Day, they can't even tell you what a woman is. And then they're telling you that on Mother's Day, how dare you oppose abortion on Mother's Day? Serious? How dare you oppose abortion on Mother's Day? Is how dare you oppose infanticide on Father's Day? What in the world? What? The entire purpose of Mother's Day is to celebrate people who give birth and who have children that grow inside them, the greatest miracle that exists on planet Earth. The entire Democratic Party has now centralized, apparently, around the philosophical position that you should possibly see your own child as a bodily invader akin to some sort of cancerous polyp. As a moral opponent that you can decide completely subjectively is either the greatest gift ever given to you or a cancerous polyp you should carve up and flush down the toilet. That is the moral position of people who are now citing Mother's Day. Amazing stuff. See, some of us don't have trouble celebrating Mother's Day. Like I celebrated Mother's Day with my wife yesterday with our 3 kids, all of whom knew that mommy loved them because guess what? They are our children and they are her children and they're the greatest gift in the world. We celebrated with my mother and my mother-in-law and we celebrate. I thought that Mother's Day was supposed to celebrate the magical gift that is motherhood. And yet the Democratic Party is like, on Mother's Day, stand up for abortion. This is the most counterintuitive pitch for Mother's Day I have ever heard. It's bizarre. It's like on St. Patrick's Day, stand up for the Irish potato famine. All right. Fine. This is the argument you want to make. By the way, this is the position of the Democratic Party. Hakeem Jeffries, I keep citing Orwell, but it really is Orwellian language. Hakeem Jeffries, the entire Democratic Party is now using the language government-mandated pregnancy. No, it's government-mandated not killing the unborn. You know what mandated the pregnancy? The process of biology. That's what mandated the pregnancy. It's like saying government-mandated digestion. Like if you eat the food, it's going to be digested. This is, all right, here we go.
The stakes are really high. We're talking about a struggle between liberty and tyranny, a struggle between a woman's freedom to make her own healthcare decisions and government-mandated pregnancies, even in the case of rape or incest. That is extreme, it's radical, it's dangerous, and it must be stopped.
Government-mandated pregnancies. Government-mandated pregnancies. They make it sound as though Republicans are strapping women down, forcibly impregnating them, and then forcing them to have the baby. That's what happens in The Handmaid's Tale, by the way. It's mass rape of women who are then forced to carry to term after being essentially mass raped. That is not what is happening in the United States of America. And anybody who tells you that it is lying to you. They're just lying. You know the reason the Democrats keep saying rape and incest? Because those are the only arguments that are even emotionally or intellectually mildly cogent. So what they do is they use edge cases to argue for the 99.9% of cases that are not rape or incest. That are just people getting pregnant and not wanting the baby and wanting to do away with the baby. That's it. For whatever reason. Okay, so relegated to these bad arguments, Democrats have to come up with some alternatives. So they've come up with a few. So the alternatives that they have come up with, before I even get to that, I just want to point out how prominent this thinking is. The prominent thinking on the left is, again, that pregnancy is some sort of weird biological imposition by an alien, and it's not a predictable result of sexual activity in any way, even though that has been how every mammalian species propagates for all of time. And SNL, I thought, did the SNL's arguments here are the worst part of this. I mean, it's amazing. The fact that they think that these are cogent arguments demonstrates how insane the backwards logic of the left is when it comes to abortion. So SNL, here is Kate McKinnon and Colin Jost, who, again, between them have done, I don't know, 2 funny things over the past 5 years, maybe. They have they're like a Bob Uecker-like batting average here. So she plays Amy Coney Barrett, and they're talking about abortion. Listen to the logic that they're using in favor of abortion here.
You were asking about safe haven laws where you can legally leave a baby at a fire station, no questions asked.
That's right, Colin. I don't understand why you need abortion, because you can leave a baby anywhere in the United States. So, what's the big deal? Just pop it. Just do the 9 and plop.
Just do the what?
Just do your 9, you know? Do your 9, leave it on the sidewalk, wrap it up in a little Moses, put it in a little basket, send it down the creek. Just do your 9, you know? It's simple. If you are a murderer if you have an abortion, but you're not a murderer if you put a baby in a bag in a mailbox, and that tracks, then it's good to me.
These people are so crazy. So we are now comparing laws that allow you to put a baby essentially up for anonymous adoption to killing the baby. Very solid stuff. Ashley Judd, by the way, has a piece along the same lines over at USA Today talking about how her mom, who just died, needs to be valued because of abortion or something. Again, what motherhood should be. Motherhood should always be a choice. Does that sound radical to you? Does that sound like I wish my sister and I hadn't been born? If that's what you think, I will gladly direct my incandescent rage at you. How much could we as a society possibly value motherhood when it is assumed to be an inevitability? Well, I mean, if you have sex, that is definitely a possibility. Again, that has been mammalian biology for all of time. When we accept as normal that women and girls will drop out of school and the workforce because they are expected to take on the unpaid labor of childcare. What do you mean expected? You mean like when you have a baby, you're supposed to take care of it? When did these things become the not natural state of things? I'm just wondering. When did we determine as a society that sex does not lead to pregnancy, which does not lead to childbirth, and also you have no responsibility to the child you bear? When did we decide this as a society? And if we did, that makes us a pretty egregiously gruesome society, does it not? But this is the pitch. This is the pitch. How's this for a title? Ben Shapiro Show subscriber destroys like button with clicks and logic. I'd watch that. Make it happen, gang.